Clemson is cranking up the recruiting pursuits for 2023 and 2024, folks. We got Jason Priester on the line from allclemson.com on SI. Got to jump on over there, check out Jason's work, who joins us on a regular basis here at the Voice of College Football. Jason, you are right there on the scene covering the Tigers.
Yes, I am into upstate today. Been here this weekend for baseball and going to head out and here in a little bit. Talk to Mike Reed and a couple players at the practice today before I head back home.
All right. Let's jump on these 23 recruits. We'll start with this quarterback that must be pretty good if Ohio State and Georgia's looking at him, as well as Clemson. So he's got a visit coming up to Clemson. Chris Vazina, 7th-rated quarterback in the country, according to the composite, and a top 50 player.
Yeah, he's kind of taken a similar track as Cade Klubnik, kind of skyrocketed up the rankings here heading into his senior season. He was actually at Clemson last weekend, if I'm not mistaken, he was there for their Elite Junior Day. And he's kind of been Clemson's top quarterback target. He's kind of been Clemson's top quarterback target since they've been out of the Arch Manning sweepstakes. And he's a guy that I think Clemson's going to land. I know he's taking visits to Ohio State. I know he's taking visits to Georgia. And I just think this is a kid that's doing his due diligence. But I think it's Clemson, then everybody else. Notre Dame was thought to be the stiffest competition, but I think even they're getting the feeling that it's a long shot to land him because Clemson's got such a lead with this kid. They've kind of moved on to the next guy on their board. You're going to see him take some more visits this spring just to be sure. But I really think Clemson's in solid shape with this kid. And I expect him to make a decision probably sometime this summer, sooner rather than later.
So, Jason, I can understand Notre Dame and Ohio State being long shots, going down to Alabama, getting a top quarterback. But what gives you the indication that Clemson's got the nod over Georgia?
I don't know. It's just some things I've heard. I think he's really sold on the culture at Clemson. It's just a little bit different. As a lot of, I think this is a kid that's real big into his faith and stuff like that. And Clemson's got a faith-based culture, with some of these kids. And I think that's something that really draws him to the program.
Okay. Got Jason Priester here talking up the Clemson Tigers spring practice coming up here very soon. Have they started spring practice?
Oh, yeah. We're about halfway in now.
So started spring practice. That's why you're there, obviously, and you're going to talk to Mike Reed coming up here on. We'll get it straight here. I'm a little out of sorts today, Jason, but that's why we got you here.
I am too. So
Jason,
we'll both be a little bit out of sorts.
There we go. So Clemson has offered 3 prospects from 2023.
Yeah, 3 new offers over the weekend. One of them was actually a 2024 guy, and linebacker Sammy Brown, one of the top linebackers in the country, one of the top players overall in the country in the 2024 class. And this offer is a little unusual because Clemson doesn't typically offer players until June before the start of their junior seasons, and Brown's kind of the exception to that rule. They've already offered. Got to talk to him some last night. I think Clemson's probably, if I had to say right now, I think they're probably in the top 3 with Brown. I think Georgia's going to be a factor, no doubt. He's from Georgia. Who else do I think can be in? I know Georgia and Clemson's right up there, but this is one of the most grounded kids. I talked to a lot of recruits, and this is one of the most grounded kids I've talked to in a while. Don't think any kind of decisions coming anytime soon. He's going to let this thing play out. He's going to, weigh all his options. He said he would like to start trimming his list down some before the start of his senior season, but this is a 2024 guy, so we're still a ways off from that. Expect him to take a lot of visits, but early on, I think Clemson really put their best foot forward with Brown. He really enjoyed the visit yesterday. Not the first time he's been to Clemson. Said he really likes what new defensive coordinator Wes Goodwin's doing. Says, there's some noticeable changes with Brent Venables gone, but they're not bad changes. They're good changes, and he thinks Clemson's defense is in good hands, and I think Clemson's in good shape with him right now.
Yeah, so we're looking at a guy that just completed his sophomore season, so we don't want to jump the gun too much in regards to he's got to continue to prove that he's that good. But the ratings right now are ridiculous. Number 1 rated linebacker in the country for the 2024 class, second rated player in the state of Georgia, top 5 player nationally at 6'2", 215 out of Jefferson, Georgia. All right.
They did offer 2 2023 kids. One of them was Jamal Anderson, the son of former NFL running back Jamal Anderson. He's a 24/7 lists him as a 4-star guy. We don't do stars at SI, so I don't typically mention stars, but I know 24/7 has him as a 4-star. He's from Georgia. I think this was a visit that really resonated with him, like just like it did with Brown. I think it probably puts Clemson up there in the top pack. And they also offered 2023 cornerback Brandon Strozier. And I know he's from Georgia, but right now that's about all I know about. He's a kid I don't know a whole lot about. Clemson's kind of expanding the board at corner some because it's looking like they're going to miss on A.J. Harris, and he's the latest corner to pick up an offer.
Well, Jamal Anderson, boy, if he's a workhorse like his dad, I remember one season in particular, Pops ran it over 400 times in the NFL. So he was used to contact, no doubt about that. They got Anderson listed as a top 30 linebacker, top 33 player in the state of Georgia, roughly 340 overall.
Yeah, I think some of the other schools has been after him were USC and Michigan State. I think Clemson really set themselves up well this weekend with Anderson, no doubt about it.
Got Jason Priester here knocking out the Clemson recruiting talk with a couple big weekends under Dabo Swinney and staff's belt from the last couple weekends, and they offered 3 over the weekend. Sammy Pringle's another guy that you've got listed here.
Kam Pringle.
Kam Pringle. I'm mixing up names. I told you I was out of sorts.
I joined the club, but in-state guy, big offensive lineman. I don't think some of the services have rated him yet, but when they do, I think this is going to be one of the top 10 offensive linemen in the country. Big kid. Golly, I think he's 6'5". I forget how big he is right off the top of my head, but he's a big kid. And he's another guy that's kind of refreshing to talk to. He's very well grounded. Like Sammy Brown, he's very well grounded for a kid his age. A lot of times when I'm talking to these kids on the phone, you kind of got to pry answers and information out of them, but Kam Pringle just makes it easy. You ask him something, he really opens up and he really talks to you. And, like I even asked him about NIL and stuff, and he was very open and honest about it. Said it's not one of his priorities. If it comes, it comes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Like most high school kids, he's in it for the long money in the NFL. That's what he's looking for, a program that can develop him and get him into the NFL and as one of the highest draft picks as he can be, if that's a way to say that. He wants a team that can develop him into a high-round draft pick. And most of these kids know that's where the money's at anyways. But I think, Clemson's going to have a battle on their hands for this kid. I know he's an in-state guy. South Carolina's been putting in the work with this kid. And all the major programs are after him. Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia. He's been all over the place. He's going to Georgia and Ohio State here this month. So going to be big competition for Pringle, no doubt about it. But he even admitted, being an in-state guy, he knows he'll get a lot more love if he picks one of the in-state schools, but I don't think that's going to factor into the decision too much.
Very good. Jason's in Clemson today, checking out the Tigers at spring practice. Do we know anything out of spring practice? Has anything come up that is worthwhile?
You know, last time we heard from the coaches, we talked to a new offensive line coach, Thomas Austin, on Friday. I wasn't here for that. I did watch it online, but you know, that one of the biggest questions Clemson has going into spring is the center position. They've moved Will Putnam over from guard to center, and the early returns have been good. You know, the coaches are saying all the right things. And Dabo Sweeney even said last Wednesday that he didn't even notice Putnam at center, and you know, except outside of one snap. There was one bad snap, and he said outside of that, he didn't even notice. And he said that's what he likes to see in his centers. If he doesn't notice, then that means they're doing something right. And so all the right things are being said. We'll see how it plays out because, you know, last year they moved Matt Bockhorst over from guard to center, and a lot of the right things were being said. And once we got to actual game time, it just didn't work out. You know, I think it lasted 3 games before Bockhorst moved back over, and Hunter Rayburn and Mason Trotter were taking the snaps. But both of those guys are out. So right now it's Putnam and, you know, 2 young guys behind him, Trent Howard and Ryan Linthicum. And I know Clemson fans are getting a little impatient with Linthicum. He was the top-rated center in the country coming out of high school. But he's only, you know, this is his second season. He's only going into his second season, and I just don't think he's there yet. Some of these kids, especially centers, take time to develop, and he looks like he's one of these guys that's going to take a couple of years before he's fully ready to go out on the field and start. I think we'll see him play a lot this season. I just don't think he's ready to be the guy.
Jason Priester, check out his work on allclemson.com on SI. Jason's kind enough to join us on a regular basis to break down the Tigers. Jason, have a good stop down there at Clemson. I hope you get some good interviews and safe drive back.
Appreciate that, man. We'll see you next time.